Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm excited to bring you some DIY Dollar Tree Coastal Farmhouse decor. We're going to use these vases, like people call them hurricane lamps as well. Then we're going to use possibly some mason jar candles, some of the empty mason jars, some of these candle cups perhaps. I'm going to show you different ways to light them up. We're going to use some battery operated candles, as well as you could use regular candles in the votive cups. Of course, all of these things can be found at the Dollar Tree. So I just want to show you here how nicely that the candles from the Dollar Tree fit inside these luminaries. The thing is, I found out they're not really meant to be candle holders. I didn't find out the hard way. I just found out by feeling them. Not all glass is created equal. So what I had done is, I'll show you in a sample, to put the mason jar candles in the vase, and I had them lit for about 5 minutes, and it got really, really warm. So even though it works, I would not recommend it. I'm going to show it to you anyway, but I would stick to battery operated if at all possible. So for the first DIY, we're going to take 2 of the vases, as well as some sand from the Dollar Tree and some of the Aleene's tacky glue. Also can be found at the Dollar Tree, and a foam brush, again, to be found at the Dollar Tree, or any brush really. And we're just going to paint on sort of a haphazard line across the bottom. You can make this perfectly straight if you want to. You can make it wavy. This is very similar to the glittery vases that were out a few years ago. That people were doing this with gold glitter, but I thought how fun it would be to do it with the sand. I like that I showed the first one was a really light coat, the second one was a really heavy coat, and I personally prefer the heavy coat better. The way it shows the light through the candle, it actually is prettier. And of course, do this over your chopping mat so you can return your sand to its vessel. And here's how they look. They have the mason jar candles in them. And next one, we're going to use some nautical rope and some jute, as well as some seashells, which are optional. I'll show you both options, and as well as your glue gun. And I prefer Gorilla Glue for this. If you don't want to use your glue gun or Gorilla Glue, you can use E6000, of course. So if you haven't watched any of our tutorials before, I'm going to show you a really quick way to tie off the ends of this nautical rope to make nice ends, pretty much. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some jute. We're going to take a piece about 8 inches, fold it in half, and make a loop. You want the loop to stick over the raw end of your nautical rope, and then you just want to take your jute and you want to twist it all around. Make sure you bury the lead. No, that sounds like a pun, but make sure you bury the lead so it's covered by the other jute, and then take the very end when you're done, stick it in the loop, and pull the other 2 ends of the jute loop. And what you'll do then is bury the tail. This makes a really pretty finished edge, and without getting emotional, I was taught to this by my dad, who was an excellent fisherman, who actually, I would love to dedicate all of these DIYs to him, because he really wanted the nautical look in my dining room for, in my home for all of our lives growing up. So anyway, I was making all of these and thinking about him the whole time. So I'm going to show you 2 ways. You could start with the top and work your way towards the bottom. And when you get to the bottom, you just want to trim off your rope at an angle. And I only put glue underneath the very start of the rope, and then I glued the whole bottom row, just so it would stay secure. Okay, and when you use the Gorilla Glue sticks on glass, make sure you have a high temp glue gun. That's very important. Now the other way I'm going to show you is to start at the bottom. Again, we want to start at an angle cut. You want to cut your rope at an angle so that it fades away. And then we're going to glue that whole first row. And now I'm going to show you guys just how it would be if you don't have a whole piece of this rope. I'm actually piecing together 3 pieces for this particular second phase, and I want to just show you how nice they butt up to each other, and you can kind of make like almost what seems like a continuous rope from them. Okay, and all I've done is whenever I get towards the end, I make sure I glue that whole edge down, add some glue to the tip of the rope as well as to the start of the next rope, and then continue just to wrap all the way around. I would like to recommend that you put all of your seams on one side of the vase, which is what I ended up doing, which worked out really well for me. And as you can see there, that's the back. And here's how they look just farmhouse. But now we're going to make them a coastal farmhouse, and we're going to add some seashells. I was actually inspired by these from a thing I saw in a catalog, which was really awesome. So all of these shells are from a bag of shells from the Dollar Tree. There's a variety of colors and textures. These are from nature, folks. These are not manufactured, so you really won't ever find two that are exactly alike. God's great that way. But I wanted to find two that were similar, and I just wanted to stick with ones that were white because I like that neutral feel. But you guys use whichever ones that you want. The original inspiration actually had dried starfish on it, but you know, Dollar Tree doesn't sell those. So here's how these two look with their little setup. And the next one actually is going to be with pearls. I'm going to use three different sizes of pearls, and then this floral wire as well as my glue gun. Now I want to show you really quick, they have this pretty net decor from the Dollar Tree, and I just wanted to show you, I took one of the tall vases, these two are the tall of the vases, and I wanted to show you that just opening up some of the net, bunching up at the top, and just letting it flow down is really pretty. It's just very, very subtle. The net is very open, so it's not the look that they actually, it'll mimic the look, it won't duplicate the look, okay, that you see in some of the high-end videos. Not videos, high-end catalogs. Sorry about that. So the reason we're using a little bit of glue on this project is because my wire is a very, very fine gauge, which is great for getting it in the bead holes, but it is not so great for stability on staying stretched onto this vase. And I'll show you what I mean when we get to gluing it. This was inspired from, I've actually had this on my Pinterest board for about 2 years, and it was actually at Christmas time. But when I was looking at it, and I was like, this really, to me, looks like bubbles, and the pearls in the ocean, and the shells, and the whole thing, and I don't know. If I'm wrong, forgive me. If you don't feel that this is Coastal Farmhouse, forgive me for that as well. But it also is a way to elegant it up. You could use this technique for Christmas or any Mother's Day. Mother's Day's coming. Hey, Mother's Day's coming. This would be pretty. Anyhow, what I'm just doing is I'm stringing on the multiple sizes. The only one that I had that was new in the package that I hadn't opened already was the large ones. The medium and the small ones came in a variety pack once before. So what I'm doing is I'm trying to mix up the sizes, but you could just use one size if you want to. Just that the inspiration piece had multiple sizes, so that's why I went with it. But if you notice, I'm just stretching about 12 inches worth of beads onto the wire, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let out some extra wire. Now, however many beads, however much wire, up to you. Make it your own. I want to see what you do. But what I want to show you how to finish the wire. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a big bead on the end, and then we're going to take the wire and feed it back around to the same hole that we put the wire through in the first place. And this is sort of a locking bead. Do you see that? And it stays perfect. It won't slide back and forth. It will keep all your beads in place. Now, what I decided to do was to just spread them out at first to try to give myself an idea of how I wanted them spaced. But the way that I found it to actually be best is to go ahead and string them on, get around as many different layers as you want. Don't worry about if the wires look tight and don't know if the beads will fit, because what you're actually doing is you're creating the same length no matter where the beads are. They'll fit, and actually the tighter it is, the nicer the beads stay, the rows stay where you want them. So what you want to do is you just want to wrap all your wire around so you get as many layers as you think you want, and then you want to cut off your wire, create that same locking bead that you did at the other end. And what I'm going to do, because this is a very fine gauge wire, is I'm going to glue the start and finish beads into place, and again making sure that they're on roughly the same size, or both sides of the back of the vase, or on both sides of the vase. Just basically make sure that you don't have you have one good side, let's put it that way. And then I work with that like it's the front, and then I just move the beads around however you want them. Move the pearls around and make as many pearls in the front. If you want it to be a 360 vase, make sure they spread them out 360. It's okay if a couple are close together. That looks good as well. And for the one vase, I put the beads towards the top, basically from half, just about halfway to about 3/4 of the way up, or 2/3 of the way up, really, almost close to the top. And for the second one, I just repeated the same thing. You don't want to see me bead all those beads again, did you? And I wrapped this one closer to the bottom. You can make two identical if you want to. I wanted to make mine individual. You'll see that with all of the three sets of vases that we made, is that no two of them are exactly alike. Okay. One way to actually give your eye that visual of height differentiation is some people take one vase and they'll put it on a pedestal. But if you just layer your finishes, so one of the vases had sand up higher than the other, one had rope up higher than the other, and this one has beads at different levels as well. So it gives you that visual break in the thing. But you could also make one tall vase and one short vase as well. All right. And now we're just going to repeat the same thing. We're going to find a start point, an end point, glue those beads, and then move them around until you get the look that you want, the effect that you're after, and the desired effect. Like I said, you may want more wire, you may want more beads. It's entirely up to your taste. Okay. And here is how they look. I love these. Okay, for the last quick project we're going to do is we're going to take a piece of this copper parchment. Now you guys know I've used this on my channel lots before. I've had it for many years. I actually bought it for Jimmy and I's wedding back in 2000. And we're going to use this bottle from the Dollar Tree. It's the one with the like the stopper on the top. And then I found these corks at sort of a farm store in Ohio, but I know they sell them everywhere, and they were like 10 cents each. I have just picked up a variety of sizes when I was there. But you could also get one of the corked bottles from the Dollar Tree. Now I've just taken a piece of parchment and I've ripped all of the edges just straight across to kind of create an aged look. Now Marion was so gracious to gift me this calligraphy marker. I haven't had one in decades, which is so sad. And this isn't real calligraphy. This is just me playing around. I just tried to make it look like a haphazard love note to my husband. Well, it's a love note to my husband, but I tried to just make it look like if I was deserted on a beach. How would I be able to write with a flattened out piece of burnt lumber, whatever. Okay. And then I rolled it up. This is pretty heavy duty paper. So what I did was I rubbed it against the edge of the table just to soften the edges up. And I had to measure a couple of times. I tied a little piece of jute around it, and then it wouldn't fit in the bottle. And then I had to tie it tighter to fit it in and tie a new piece of jute around it. But eventually just work with it until you get it where you want. I ended up putting a tiny bit of sand and a couple of the baby shells that come in that pack in the bottle, the bottom of the bottle, to give it that authentic look. And now we're going to take that netting that we talked about before, as well as some sea glass. I got these from the Dollar Tree quite a few years ago. They had the purple and green sea glass looking marbles. And we're just going to take this white tray. This was just a black tray today, and I painted it white. And we're just going to decorate different ways to get you that Nautical farmhouse look. Okay? So I've taken the two beaded shades, dropped in some electric candles. I wanted to buy the electric candles that they had at the Dollar Tree, but they were completely sold out of my store. So I just had these two in my house. I set one of the Dollar Tree mason jar candles in front to see how that looks, as well as laying the bottle down in front. And now I've taken the two votive cups that we just looked at with the seashells on. From the beginning that we looked at with the coral on it. And this is just a really pretty arrangement. It was quick. I threw some of the glass, sea glass beads down at the bottom. Now for this next one, I was thinking about trying to add some things to the bottle, and then the message wouldn't come out. So I'm going to try to decorate with the sand ones. What I ended up doing was putting some sand down in the bottom, because the mason jars fit, but they don't really fit straight. Because when you get to the bottom, that vase on the inside tapers in a little bit. So just add some sand to the bottom so that the two mason jar candles are level, or whatever candles you use. Like I said, I wouldn't recommend the real flames if you have a jar this big, because they did get hot. Maybe if you've burned them a little closer to the top. And then I had this bucket from the Dollar Tree, just to show you, like with a little sand in it, just to mimic like a sand pail. This one was just seemed a little fun to me, but instead I was gifted this little tiny bucket instead to give that more farmhouse look. So I love the way this looks. These ones are like my simplest and my favorite so far. And now for the two ones with the nautical robe, we're just going to take some glue dots and put them on the bottoms of these emergency candles, just to give that real lumiere look, that real hurricane lamp look as well. But any of those candles could fit in any of these vases. They're all the same. So you mix and match, you get the combination that you like. We're going to put a little sand and a little seashells in the bottom of that votive cup from the Dollar Tree with a little tea light in it, and some sand and a little bit of shells. Add some shells to the tray, and here's this one.
Hopefully I can.
Well, do it over the tray so if you hit sand everywhere. Pour it. Stop sticking your finger up in there. Stop sticking your finger up in there. You knew that was going to happen. You knew that was going to happen because it happened before. You just forgot.
I'm not going to be able to get this knot off.
Slide it. It just slides off like a... Have you never seen a pirate movie?
Yeah. A drunken half-dead pirate does not tie this tight.
I had to, or it would unscroll and not be able to fit it out of the jar.
Do something else.
What does it say? Read it for the people.
I'm not going to read it.
Read it for the people. They watch me write it. They know what it says.
Alright.
Where'd you get the pen to write this?
I was gifted Marion.
Oh, okay. Calligraphy pen?
Mm-hmm.
James, there is no words to describe the love I have for you and the pride I have in being your wife of me.
He hates when I get mushy. So that's it, everybody. I hope you really enjoyed all of these tutorials. I so enjoyed bringing them to you. If you have any questions at all, please leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to share this video with friends and family, anybody you know who may be interested in bringing any of these aspects of nautical coastal farmhouse to their home. And if you haven't yet, click subscribe, and when you do, a little bell will pop up. When you ring that bell, YouTube will let you know whenever I upload a new video. Don't forget to stop by our vlog channel. The link is in the description box down below. And as always, take care, God bless, and we'll see you next time. Bye.